Okay, guys, so today we are going to do our Unit 7 quiz review. So the directions tell us to find the common difference. So from that, we know that this is going to be talking about arithmetic sequences. And then we also are asked to find the 23rd term, the explicit formula, and the recursive formula. So the first thing that we need to do to be able to find our explicit and recursive formulas as well as the 23rd term, we have to be able to find our common difference. So to find our common difference with arithmetic sequences, we're trying to figure out what that number is that's being added or subtracted to the previous term. So to go from 0 to 4, we are adding 4 each time. So my common difference here would be 4. Now, to find the 23rd term, we have to be able to create our explicit formula first. So to create the explicit formula, okay, which is a sub n equals my first term, a sub 1, plus d times n minus 1. So we need to be able to identify our first term, which here would be 0. Okay, so that becomes my first term here. And then we've already found my common difference, which is 4. And then I just go ahead and I finish writing the rest of my equation. So my nth term is going to equal 0 plus 4 times n minus 1. And I can go ahead and simplify this as well. So if I simplify, that means I'm going to distribute my 4 to the n and the negative 1. So I have a sub n equals 4n minus 4. So that's my simplified explicit formula. Okay, to find my 23rd term, so if I'm trying to find the 23rd term, that would be a of 23 equals, and I'm just going to plug in 4 times my 23rd term minus 4. So when I go ahead and I multiply 4 times 23, I'm going to end up getting 92. So a of 23, the 23rd term, is going to be 92 minus 4, which then simplifies to be 88. So that's my 23rd term. And then the last thing that I need to do is go ahead and create that recursive formula. So that's going to be up here. I'll write that. And remember, with recursive formula, you want to have your first term. So a sub 1, or my first term of the sequence, is 0. And then I write a sub n equals a sub n minus 1, so the previous term, plus 4. Okay, so that is my recursive, explicit, and the 23rd term. Okay, so looking at the next one, we've got going from negative 33 to negative 133. So there we are subtracting 100. And you can see that that continues every single time. We are subtracting 100 from every single term. So my common difference would be negative 100. Okay, and we know that my first term right here is negative 33. So I can go ahead and write a sub 1 equals negative 33. Then from that information, I can go ahead and create my explicit formula, which we have a sub n equals my first term plus the common difference times n minus 1. So then I'm going to go ahead and plug in all of my terms. So a sub n, so my nth term, is negative 33 plus my common difference of negative 100 times n minus 1. And again, I can go ahead and simplify this as well. So a sub n equals negative 33 minus 100n plus 100. Because when I distribute right here, okay, that becomes negative 100 times n, and then negative 100 times negative 1 is going to give me a positive 100. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to simplify negative 33 and positive 100. So a sub n equals negative 100n plus 67. Now that's my explicit formula, and I can go ahead and write my recursive as well. So I'll go ahead and write that right here. So I've got my first term equals negative 33. And then I have a sub n equals we have a sub n minus 1, and then plus my common difference, which would be negative 100. Then to find my 23rd term, I'll write that over here. So a to the 23rd would be, move this over a little bit. So I use my explicit formula, which would be negative 100 times 23. And I'm going to run out of room, but that's okay, plus 67. Okay, so when I go ahead and I multiply, I'm going to say negative 100 times 23, which gives me negative 2,300. Then I add that 67 at the end to it, which is going to give me my 23rd term being negative 2,233. And that's it for those two. So then we go on and we're looking at number 3 here. We've got a common difference of subtracting 4 each time. So my common difference is negative 4. And then to create my explicit, so I've got a sub n equals my first term, which is 0, plus my common difference, which is negative 4 times n minus 1. When I go ahead and I simplify that, I get a sub n equals, after I distribute that negative 4, it becomes negative 4n plus 4, because negative 4 times negative 1 is that positive 4. So that's my simplified explicit formula. Then I go ahead and I'm going to write my recursive formula as well. I've got my first term, which is 0, and then I'm going to go ahead and write a sub n equals a sub n minus 1, and then it is my common difference of minus 4. Then to find my 23rd term, I'm going to go ahead, take my explicit formula. So I'm going to say a sub 23 equals negative 4 times 23 plus 4. So when I multiply negative 4 times 23, I'm going to end up getting negative 92 this time. So a sub 23 equals negative 92 plus 4, which is then going to be a sub 23 equaling negative 88. All right, so now we have number 4. Again, we want to find that common difference. So this one looks a little bit more challenging, so we probably want to be able to say, okay, negative 179 minus 21. So negative 179 minus 21 means that there is a difference of 200 here. Okay, and you can tell right here that it also is minus 200, minus 200. Okay, so you take the second term and subtract it from the first term to get that common difference. So my common difference is negative 200. Then I'm going to go ahead and write my explicit formula, which would be a sub n equals my first term, which is 21. And then I've got my plus my common difference, which is negative 200 times n minus 1. So I go ahead, I distribute. So I get a sub n equals 21 minus 200n plus 200. Then I'm going to combine my like terms here. So I get a sub n equals negative 200n, and then that would be plus 221. So then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to write my recursive formula as well. So that would be my first term equaling 21. And then I've got a sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus my common difference, so that would just be minus 200. Then to find that 23rd term, we use our explicit formula. So a sub 23 equals negative 200 times 23 plus 221. So negative 200 times 23 is going to simplify to be negative 4,600 plus 221 is then going to be added to it. So we get negative 4,000 379 is my final answer for that. Okay. Number 5, we're going to look at that and we're going to see that the common difference here we are adding to each time. So my common difference is going to be a positive 2, which means that I've got a sub n equaling my first term, which is negative 27, plus 2 times n minus 1. So when I go to simplify to create my explicit formula, I've got a sub n equals negative 27 plus 2n minus 2. So if I add my like terms together for my explicit formula, I've got 2n minus 29. So then to find my recursive formula, we have my first term equaling negative 27. Then I've got a sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus my common difference, which would be plus 2. For my 23rd term, I take my explicit formula and plug in 23 for my term numbers. So I've got 2 times 23 minus 29. So when I multiply, I end up getting 2 times 23 would be 46, and then minus 29 from that would end up giving us 17 as our a sub 23, and I can write that up here. So a sub 23 equals 17. All right, last one for this page. So we are going to find that common difference, and it's looking like every single time we are adding a 0.5. So you can either write it as a decimal, or you could say that the common difference is 1/2. It doesn't matter here because it's showing us decimals. I would probably just write it as 0.5. So then we're going to create our explicit formula. And our explicit formula is a sub n equals my first term, which is 4.5, plus I've got my common difference of 0.5 times n minus 1. So then when I simplify, I'm going to distribute, and I get a sub 5 equals 4.5 plus 0.5n minus 0.5. When I simplify by combining my like terms, I get a sub n equals 0.5n plus 4. Okay, because 4.5 minus 0.5 gives us that 4. Then I can go ahead, I'm going to write my recursive formula now. And my recursive would be my first term, which is 4.5. And I write my semicolon, a sub n equals a sub n minus 1, and then plus my common difference, which is 0.5. Then to find my 23rd term, like I said before, we're going to take that explicit formula. So that should be 23 equals 0.5 times 23. Whoop. Erase that. Just go ahead and redo that real quick. So a sub 23 equals 0.5 times 23 plus 4. So when I multiply 0.5 times 23, I'm going to get 11.5 plus 4. So a sub 23 is going to give me 15.5. And that is it for the front page. We'll check you later on the next page.